2016 has been absolutely huge for music. There's been so many good releases, so many nostalgic releases from bands that, were extremely popular 10 years ago and are making just extremely good releases this year. It's just been jammed full of great music that this list was really hard to do because there's so many albums that I just want to say, this is the best album I heard this year. This is the best album I heard this year. But we got to kind of narrow things down a little bit and get down to it. These are the top 10 runners-up for 2016.
Number 10.
Number 10 is Panic at the Disco's Death of a Bachelor. Now, the fact that this album is just a runner-up really should just show how strong that 2016 was for music in general. It's my favorite album that they've released, at least in a while, probably since their first album, Fever You Can't Sweat Out. And, while the last couple albums, in particular, Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die, were good, they just lack that sense of energy and just they were a little bit too straightforward for me. They didn't really work as well. They kind of lack the ambition, I feel, that is on here. Now, this one just brings back all the theatrics to it. It's just, there's so much going on here. There's a completely diverse song. I mean, the band is pretty much Brendan Urie at this point, but he just brings in such a sense of style to this music. There's so much going on here, from modern pop to surf rock to lounge music to big band, and it just really spruces up their sound and their style, and it just really worked.
Number 9.
Number 9 is Black Audio's Material. Now, if you know me, you know I'm a huge AFI fan. Obviously, I'm doing the AFI review series, so any release that gives me more Davey Havok is definitely okay in my book. Now, this album actually is just absolutely fantastic, which is why it's on this list. I mean, it really expanded their sound tremendously from the kind of simplistic synth pop that they had in their first album, and they started progressing a little bit more with their last album, and then this album just really, we see a sense of expansion on here. I mean, they've been delivering music for essentially the last 10 years now. There's some really standout tracks here, like Waiting to Be Told or First to Love, which deliver a more smoother experience. They're also a bit darker than things we've heard in the past, and it really sounds just more earnest, and I really enjoy that from this band, and this album is something that just really needs to be experienced.
Number 8.
Number 8 is Wander's Precipice. Now, 2016 was just huge for post-hardcore music. I mean, there were just so many bands from that. It's kind of a catch-all term for a lot of different bands, but I really think that Wander's release was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, you've got these really atmospheric, intricate guitars on here, amazing, amazing vocal work. I mean, he does just such a great job on here. It's just absolutely tremendous. It's not quite as heavy as some other bands, especially the ones I generally listen to. It leans more towards the kind of smoother indie side of things, and I really actually enjoy that on this album. I think it works for them. That definitely is their comfort zone and where they are the strongest and where they can shine. I mean, the songs on here are just really catchy overall, and they kind of just burrow your way into your brain. And again, there's just such a sense of atmosphere on here that it's something that really kind of just sticks with you.
Number 7.
Number 7 is No Name Telephone. Now, I don't really review a lot of hip-hop or rap just because I'm not comfortable talking about it. I don't really know much about it that I really feel comfortable with it. But this album just really just caught my attention and really kind of caught me off guard a bit. I mean, if you're still in the realm of thinking that rap and hip-hop is all just Lil Wayne and all that crap on or whatever the newest person is, I don't really listen to radio, whatever, you're not looking in the right place, because this is not that hyped up, flashy kind of trap rap or whatever they call it. It's very deep, it's very poignant, it's very somber, it's dark at times, and it deals with a lot of real life issues. She does such a great job just with the words that she uses, and just real sense of flow that gets things going. I mean, it's a much more toned down style of things. I mean, the backing beats there are as hard hitting or heavy as you might expect. They're not really fast. They're more jazzy. And it's something that I really kind of liked. They're probably some of the best backing, electronic music that I've heard so far this year. And I just really think it does such a great job, and she does such a great job on this album. She's really an artist to watch out for because, I mean, she's been featured on a lot of other tracks with some big names like Chance the Rapper. And I just think on her own, she does such a great job. And this entire album is really just something to listen to if you're looking for something other than what you might hear on the radio.
Number 6.
Number 6 is the Dillinger Escape Plan with Dissociation. I mean, if you have to go out like the Dillinger Escape Plan. I mean, Disassociation is easily one of the best albums that they've ever done. I mean, I love this album back and forth. There's just so much going on in every single song. There's these little moments that I go back and listen to and just are still amazed by, still surprised by. It's progressive. It's what we've expected from them. It's everything you could really want from a Dillinger Escape Plan and from a mathcore album, that it does it so well. It's brash, it's heavy, it's experimental. It's Dillinger. I mean, I can't say enough about this album. And again, the fact that this is just on a runners up list is really just a testament to how good the music released in 2016 is. I mean, any other year this probably would have been number 1, but there were just so many good releases. It's that good. That it really is that good, and I can't stress that enough. That Dillinger Escape Plan, I mean, if they're going to go out, at least they left us with a gem.
Number 5.
Number 5 is Capsized, a reintroduction, the essence of all that surrounds me. Capsized really brought a nostalgic sense of energy and aggression back to the post-hardcore or metalcore genre, whatever you want to call it. There's guitar riffs that really channel back to Under Oath's Define the Great Line, for instance. There's vocal work that really brings back a sense of the Used, for instance, on here. And just, I mean, the album's just bursting at the seams with talent and energy, and there's just so many great moments throughout there. The track Tear Me Apart, which is the first single that they released, is probably the best one, and it's everything that you could kind of expect from a band like this when you're listening to. They just really brought a sense of hardcore back to the post-hardcore genre.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Hail the Sun with Culture Scars. Now, 2016 has been a huge year for music in general, and I keep saying that, but it's also been a huge year for a lot of individual artists, and one of them is Donovan Malero, who's fronting both Hail the Sun and Scienvar, which had 2 huge releases in this year. Now, out of the 2, Culture Scars really ends up being my favorite. I think it's a little bit stronger of an album. It actually is a bit of a concept album that kind of travels through life, in particular adolescence and late teens and college, and through all the way through adulthood. I mean, the content ranges from everything from dealing with former loves in college, and dealing with that kind of respect you gain for your parents, if they deserve it, over the years, and the fact that they actually gave a shit about you at some point, and just everything is backed by his brilliant drumming, and also his great unique style of vocal work as well. He kind of has one of those voices that's instantly recognizable and not really found elsewhere as well. I mean, and everything else on here is great too. The guitar work is absolutely fantastic and kind of just brings everything together, these amazing, memorable riffs. So I just really think that Culture Stars is a great album from Hail the Sun.
Number 3.
Number 3 is Party Wolf with Homeless Romantic. Now, this is definitely an album for fans of music like Every Time I Die or even The Chariot. Just a sense of style to the hardcore genre, and just a real sense of rock and roll, kind of that, carefree, energetic feel to things. And I mean, everyone in this band really just works so hard. The guitar riffs are just full of class and kind of larger than life. The drumming is just frantic and just just really kind of carries everything through. The bass work ties it together, and then the vocal work is it just shines so bright on this album and in general. And I mean, I've had the honor of interviewing these guys and seeing them live, and they put on such a great show. And I think it's something that really kind of translates from the album, where you really get that feel, to the live stage. And I just think they did such a good job with this release. And it is a bit unique. You know, you don't really hear a lot of bands like that anymore, or at least not bands that are not doing it as well as the guys are.
Number 2.
Number 2 is Nile with Foundation. Now, as I mentioned in my original review, the New England metal scene is kind of a bit stale. There's not many bands that are doing anything interesting, but Nile are doing something really, really unique within this scene. I mean, they've mixed everything into the metal from doom to thrash to speed metal, and it's just a melting pot that is perfectly representative of New England, I really think. I mean, Foundation, which, you know, is fairly short, but definitely represents what these guys bring to the table. I love it. It's another band that I've gotten the honor of seeing live, and they just have such an energy to them on the stage that everything feels sped up in a good way. It really feels like it feels thrashier. It feels definitely like speedier than the album, and it just works so well. And that's saying something, because the album itself is absolutely fantastic. The songs on here are unique. They fit in with each other, but at the same time, they all bring something new to the table, and that's why Foundation is a great album.
Number 1.
Number 1 is Cove with We Were Once Lost. Now, I love discovering new music, just because once you think you've heard everything, something comes out there and just blows away your expectations. And that album was Cove's We Were Once Lost for me. I mean, there's some absolutely fantastic guitar riffs going on. They're groovy. They're off the wall. It's got this mathcore influence. It's really reminiscent, as I mentioned in the original review of it, of Architect's Hollow Crown. And like I said, to just say that it's a carbon copy, we could be completely wrong, because while it definitely draws influence from that style, it does its own thing, and it just does such a great job here. I mean, the screaming on here, the guitar work, the drumming, it just feels larger than life. And I really think that in general, this album is just metalcore at its finest. Thank you so much for watching. Those were my top 10 picks for the runners-up for 2016. I will be going over the top 10 albums of 2016 in the next video. Just remember that these were not in any sort of ranking or order. Number 10 wasn't any worse than number 1, or number 1 wasn't any better than the rest. They all just are albums that really stand out and were just memorable albums throughout the year that I feel like, and some of them I didn't review, I just feel like they deserve some sort of recognition. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. What are your picks for at least your top 10 runners up of this year? I want to hear from you guys. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more.